Fellas, let's keep going around the slate of week 0 games, and we've got Fresno State at Kansas. The Jayhawks are 12-point favorites. This is 5:30 p.m. on Fox, and all these games, because it's week 0, very easy to put them in sequential order. It's the grand reopening of Kansas Memorial Stadium. They'll have some really sweet end zone decals going on. Obviously, one half of the stadium has been completely rebuilt. Should be a fun opener for the season, for Lance Leipold and the boys. Jayhawks favored by over 2 scores. Fresno State, I think the best thing that they've got going for them is Matt Ince takes over at head coach after the Jeff Tedford saga last year, obviously ended due to his health. Ince comes over from North Dakota State, where he's a national champion at the FCS level. I think he's a guy that can absolutely get Fresno State back on top of the Mountain West in due time, but this year it's going to be rebuild for sure. They've got just one returner from, I think they had 11 All Mountain West Conference selections last year. One guy returns from that list. EJ Warner is the new quarterback. He comes over from Rice after transferring from Temple, so kind of the well-traveled son of Kurt, NFL Hall of Famer. Storylines abound here, but mostly I think I'm pretty set on Kansas using this to warm up the engine, get the ground game going, and hopefully get Jalen Daniels some confidence throwing the football down the field.
Yeah, Alzillian Hampton is that one of 11 that you are referring to, Mitch. Amazing name. He's a cornerback. Going to be the star of the defense, but like you said, he doesn't have a ton of established help. They could be great by the end of the season. I love the Matt Ince hire. I think that he's going to be great at Fresno State. But yeah, Kansas just seems more of a complete product to me right now, even though they have a lot of transition as well. They lose Devin Neal. They got a new offensive coordinator this year in Jim Zabrowski. He's the guy that's been around the program, though. I said this on the Big 12 preview. I think Jalen Daniels is going to have a renaissance season this year. He just obviously was uncomfortable in the Jeff Grimes offense last year for whatever reason. And I think having a new offensive coordinator that's been his quarterback coach for his entire time at Kansas is going to be really nice. And I think they might get back more to that Andy Kotelnicki style that he thrived in a few years ago. So, yeah, I'm taking Kansas minus the points. I think they roll here and have a great time in their new opening of the stadium and set a firm foundation for a really fun season in the Big 12.
Yeah, Trey, I think I'm with you. I'm excited about the energy, excited about how that stadium's going to feel. And then obviously I think the run game's going to be awesome. I think they're going to really get that thing off and running. Love Daniel Highshaw Jr. Big fan of that guy. He's been kind of under the radar, sitting behind Devin Neal for a little while. Now it's going to be his chance to shine. I'm excited for them and kind of hopeful that they can get this thing going because, man, when Kansas football is good, it is just a better college football landscape.
I agree. I think they could really play spoiler in the Big 12 this season. We thought that's what they were going to do in the front half of the year. We were kind of building them up to be that team. We all discounted them, and then they ended up playing spoiler in 3 consecutive weeks anyway, just kind of as a parting shot on the way out. So this year, if they get their legs under them early, maybe they get a shot at winning that rivalry game over Kansas State. That would be fun to talk about later on in the season. But yeah, I think Kansas turns the engine over. Just keep the turnovers to a minimum, and they'll roll to a comfortable 1-0. How about Sam Houston and Western Kentucky in a Conference USA showdown right off the bat? I think this is the Maverick MacGyver glory run starting in Bowling Green, Western Kentucky. Very similar to the Zach Kitley and Houston Christian narrative from a couple of years ago, where they bring in a quarterback and his offensive coordinator from the FCS level. Obviously, it does amazing things. Bailey Zappi throws for all the yards. They're running it back this year as they bring in Abilene Christian's OC and Maverick MacGyver, who threw for over 500 yards in that season opener against Texas Tech, had a whale of a season for the Wildcats last year. I believe led them to a playoff game, if I'm not mistaken. I could have that one wrong.
He did? But yes, that's correct.
But he's starting against an entirely rebuilt Sam Houston Bearcats defense. I don't know that either team is a known quantity right now, but it feels like Sam Houston is certainly more of the unknown than Western Kentucky. So I'm gonna take the Hilltoppers. They're at home. I'm probably gonna lay the points in that one.
And we do have to say that Western Kentucky has almost an entire new team too, but this is something that they're used to at this point. Every single year, it seems like they're churning through an entire roster. The only question to me is, does it work regardless of denomination? Because it worked with a Baptist school. Does it work with a Church of Christ, I think is what Abilene Christian is. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it doesn't matter.
Pass the plate.
Yeah, I think that my only note on this game is to take the over. It's 60.5, and I think there's going to be a ton of points scored. Don't underestimate Phil Longo's offense to maybe make this interesting. Love that hire. Love him coming back home to Huntsville. And love that he is going to be able to have some continuity on offense. He has Hunter Watson back at quarterback, but this is probably going to be a shootout for about a half. And then I don't know that Sam Houston has the horses on defense just yet to get enough stops. And Western Kentucky leaning a little bit more that they do. So, yeah, I'm with you. Take the over. Probably lean Western Kentucky -10 since they're at home, but definitely take over 60.5.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot more notes than that. The only other things that I would have written down is take Western Kentucky -10 and apologize to fan of the show, Phil Longo, famous follower of the show over on Twitter.
Probably our most famous follower, actually.
Possibly.
Well, I don't know.
Ooh, definitely.
I don't know.
No
we're getting
to
up
Phil
there.
Longo. No offense to Phil Longo, but we've got some pretty famous folks that are following.
Yeah, we got to apologize because we're all gonna kind of just sit here and love Western Kentucky for a second, and that's totally fair of us to do. But Coach, if you're watching, if you're as avid a follower of the show as we think you might be, then we apologize, and I don't know, give us some press creds or something, and maybe we'll come down there and hang out.
Well, if the stories are true, he is probably searching for Sam Houston content during team meetings. So,
true.
Yeah.
There, he's where he belongs.
Love you,
that's
Phil.
For sure.
Love you, Phil. I hope you're listening. Yeah.
Yeah. He's right where he belongs. He's back home. Hopefully has a long tenure there. And then, in his own words, he'd love to retire there. He would love for this to be his last gig. So hopefully he rebuilds the Cats and gets to go out on top. Guys, let's go to the islands for the final game on our run sheet. The Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, 2.5-point favorites against the Stanford Cardinal. Say less, gentlemen. Give me Hawaii, and I'm going to lean right into this. Micah Aliado probably leaving a very potent Bows attack. We don't really know what we're going to get from Stanford. Ben Gilbranson, the Oregon State transfer, is quarterbacking for the Cardinal. This is an organization that is just kind of famously in a little bit of disarray, truly a year zero rebuild. They don't even have a full-time head coach right now. Andrew Luck is, GMing his khakis off, but it's probably going to take a little bit of time to get Stanford back up and running. This just feels like a terrible spot for Stanford without an identity, going to the island, and Hawaii somehow learned how to play defense as well coming into this year, guys.
And Hawaii, the last few years under Timmy Chang, has been really, really good when they're playing at home. That's worth more than a few points when they're at their home stadium, not traveling to the mainland. So yeah, I'm with you again, Mitch. I've got Hawaii minus the points, and Michael Aliado, watch out. Remember that name because he is going to put up some gaudy numbers in this offense this year. He has a fun receiving core. His one start last year, he threw for over 400 yards and 5 touchdowns against New Mexico, which I know is just a step above playing air last year, but it was still really, really impressive to watch him do it.
Yeah, my big thing on this one is that Captain Andrew Luck tweeted out that scouts report the Warriors they face are powered by a rainbow. That doesn't sound like anything I want to mess with, so I'm going to go with Hawaii on this one.
Yeah, we're recording this late enough in the evening to where I don't really want to throw in an extra production element, but the more that Captain Andrew Luck tweets, the more that you'll probably hear the drum and fife return to the old podcast.
Chance.
Trey and I did a show, a couple months ago now at this point, where we read a letter from the front, and that might have to be a regular staple of the show if Stanford's making some noise. So, I think if nothing else, for me, I need to see Stanford find an identity. I need to figure out what on earth they're going to look like on both sides of the ball. They're obviously going to have an up-tempo, explosive offense to try and defend, a scrappy defense at the very least from the Rainbow Warriors to try and go and score again. So the good news is we don't have to download any sort of app. We don't have to illegally stream or use a VPN to watch this. It's on CBS. It's 6:30 p.m. So a great.
Not
At a
that we
normal
would do
time.
anything like that. We would never do anything like that.
No, of course not. Of course not. No shady ways have ever been used by anybody in this great country to watch Hawaii football. But yeah, you're right, Trey.
Sports was free and legal, guys. I don't know what y'all are talking about. It was a free and legal app. And the people on the islands like had to do pay-per-view, and they might have.
I think it just felt illegal because of how sketchy the app kind of was.
Listen, don't pretend like it when we were in college. Ben didn't have some interesting ways of pulling up games, and Hawaii was certainly one of those.
You're definitely right about that.
All right, well, those are our week 0 previews and picks. Write in, let us know where you fall for this week. I think overall we're just thrilled to have college football back.